Hello and welcome to another edition of Pulp Picks. My name is Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
And we're here to give you this week's reading recommendations on New Comic Book Day. And Fritz, as the weather turns a little warmer and hopefully is doing less of that flip-flopping back and forth between, is it going to snow? Is it going to rain? Is it going to be 70 degrees? Hopefully when we're going to get a little bit of all of that, I think, this week.
I think I specifically heard them say on the radio this morning, get ready for some humidity this week.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so that's going to be weird.
It is going to be weird. But, you know, the world around us is getting green again, and birds are chirping, and people's moods seem to be a little brighter as we get more and more sunshine. And it makes for reading comic books all the more enjoyable. I love being able to get out on the porch and sit down in some good sunshine with a cup of coffee and read some comics. Wasn't able to do that this morning, but there was quite a bit of sunshine out, and I'm feeling good about it.
Yeah.
So let's dive right into it. What did you choose for your pick this week?
Everyone's favorite feel-good summer comic, Bleeding Hearts, where zombies are trying to eat everyone.
Oh, we were doing so well.
Yeah, but so... Yeah, I think I've had all 3 issues up here so far. Been really enjoying the series. This issue is probably kind of like the most work being done in terms of really getting the feel of how this world works in a lot of ways, because it deals a lot with how we got it in the last issue of how humans perceive the zombies and the hordes and everything, and how terrifying that is to them. And this issue, we get a lot more of how the zombies perceive humans. Like, there's actually a whole conversation between several zombies about are humans sentient? Because to them they're basically just like free roaming cattle.
Oh, right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so they have this whole debate that the horde gets together for in a mall, no less.
Sure.
Yeah. And yeah, they're just kind of going over it, and even just the way where we're kind of shown how zombies perceive the sounds that humans make. Because they don't really hear words. They hear sounds coming out of them, and how that works in relation to how they perceive them then as possibly as just food is very interesting.
Interesting indeed. So an interesting metaphor kind of popped up as you were talking about that. And are malls the zombies of buildings and the former economy now?
Surely nothing metatextual about this at all.
I've been to a few. The Burnsville Mall is definitely a zombie. That place is scary now.
Meh.
All right. Anyway, continue.
But yeah, so we get that. We get the first issue. We had it all from kind of Polk's perspective.
Yeah.
Issue 2 was pretty much from I'm blanking on the woman's name, but from hers. And this issue we kind of get from both. And obviously, she, despite Polk, by all appearances, being a very helpful, nice zombie, obviously doesn't trust him, considering most of her life has been, zombies trying to kill and eat me and everyone I know and love.
Sure. Yep.
And the lengths that she'll go to, try and avoid that again for herself and her kid.
Yep.
It's very interesting, just these two people who have really no idea what the other is or is about, trying to not necessarily work together, because by no means do they really know or trust each other, but try to work at similar cross purposes and just how that does and doesn't work.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah, and obviously again, Maureen's art is just fantastic. Camp was talking recently online about how Maureen's on art duty for the entire thing. There's not going to be any fill-in thing. They're going to do a little break after issue 12 just to give them time to recharge. But this is very much them, but the both of them going at hard as they can for as long as they can.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And yeah, no, it shows. There's easily it's so funny when you just sometimes run into an artist that's just you're in my top 10 now, for forever.
Wow.
And I mean, Maureen's been there since 20th Century Men for me, but it's because you ever have an artist where it's just you first see their something I like it, but eventually you were you're just one of my favorites now.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is very much one of those cases where it's just like on the site, it's just like this guy,
for sure,
like this guy gets it. But actually, funny enough, your pick has an artist on there that is probably also one of my favorite artists.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I went with Iron Man number 4, and this is so Williamson and Carnero, right?
Yep.
And so with this relaunch of Iron Man, the whole concept is that Tony and Madam Mask have a hookup, as they do, and Tony kind of opens a vein and shares this awful thought that he had and what he kind of had as a plan to, counter this terrible potential happenstance. And Madam Mask instantly uses it against him.
Yeah.
So the gist of it is like, I'm going to make an incubation experiment to create the next Tony Stark. And we're going to do it by trying to recreate the event that created Iron Man. And it's been happening for the last 3 issues now. And they're not quite getting the results that they want. We've got the person who won the Tony Stark Award.
Yeah.
Is that what they call it?
Something like that.
Finally has kind of a breakthrough, and we figure out that why that breakthrough happened is because this person's not doing what they're trying to get this person to do. And it actually really helps Tony in Tony's situation, because Tony showed up and kind of got caught in this little trap as well. And then things go south.
Well, and it's so funny how, like you were saying, their whole notion of just like, oh, if we just put these smart people in these dire situations, they'll basically create our own evil Iron Man for all intents and purposes. When that's kind of like a fundamental misunderstanding of Tony created a thing that allowed him to escape the situation he was in.
Right.
If you make someone have to like do a similar thing, you're not guaranteed that their idea of like, how do I escape this, is going to be the same thing. And that's what like proves they're doing their fundamental misunderstanding of what was like being attempted in that original situation.
Yeah, well, and it also fundamentally changed Tony's worldview too. He came to realize that what he was doing as an arms dealer in the world was really awful, and making it had a net negative effect on the world at large. So I don't think that's what they want to do, because their aim.
No,
and they really want somebody to be an arms. So again, but necessity is the mother of invention is kind of the germ that gets this whole thing going. And one of the interesting things about this issue, and kind of we've seen the beginnings of it in the other issues, but you end up with very different results from people. Some people are like, blow the whole thing up, and other people are like, what are they not thinking about?
Yeah.
Like, what can I do that is totally the opposite of what they're trying to get us to do? And so it's really interesting. So now, I'm guessing in the next 2 issues to wrap up this kind of, this story arc for the trade paperback, and then fly us into hopefully what is a continued run, because I'll be honest, and I know that we've kind of alluded to this quite a bit in these videos. Marvel's in a slump right now, especially with their big superhero characters. And there are a handful of books that have been fun to stay with, and there are a couple of them that we'll probably reference in a little bit here. But this has been a fun, like, hey, this is just a good Tony Stark story. And I think there's a couple things going wrong there. One, if you want to do something really out there and original, then have the guts to do it, and maybe create something new. Like, why are we walking away from that so much? And I think that they also have to not be so quick to pull the plug on creative teams and let them try to do what they want to do, without just canceling them in issue 6.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right.
The wound will heal eventually.
Never. So I mean, the problem is they keep reopening it and then just dumping salt on it. So stop it, Marvel. Stop it.
Speaking of someone who's good at dumping salt, that's a really dark joke if you've been reading Black Knight like you have.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking of, doing something interesting with a creative team on a character that's been around for a while, let's go to a publisher that's been killing it lately.
Yeah, we've got The Fury of Firestorm, issue 1, newest in the Next Level series of books that DC is doing.
Full disclosure, I care zero craps about. I don't want to get flagged by YouTube. I do not care about Firestorm at all.
Firestorm was a character that I've definitely read a bunch of stuff with him that I've enjoyed, and I've tried to get into the character a couple times, and it's just not one that's ever fully clicked for me. It's never I can't think of anything I've read of his that's particularly bad or anything. It's just
no, for sure.
It's just sometimes there's just some kind of disconnect. You just don't get there.
Well, and I think DC has a tendency to have a lot of characters that are, I don't know, they make you just slightly uncomfortable. Like they're good guys, but they make you a little uncomfortable. The ick factor for me on Firestorm is, an upper middle-aged professor dude sharing a body with a teenager /20 something.
Yeah,
and they know each other's thoughts and they're experiencing the same thing. Like, ew, I don't know. Like, I've never been able to get past that. So here though. That's not necessarily the setup. What's going on with Firestorm right now? And that's kind of what the world is trying to figure out, because he is up to some.
Yeah, so basically, issue kind of starts off, Firestorm is showing up in this town. He's acting weird. Something's definitely off about him. And he starts doing things that you probably normally wouldn't think Firestorm would do.
Yeah, they're more horror movie evil?
Yeah,
it's not good.
To the point where the government has to call in Firehawk to be like, hey, so he's being weird. You're one of the only people we know that kind of knows him. Can you go in and help us take care of this?
Yeah.
And so we get a quick little kind of rundown, the whole general history of Firestorm, where he's kind of adding things, which I like that all these books have, since one of the big things with these is hey, new people, come and check these characters out.
Yeah.
They do a good job of doing it without you ever feeling like you're being bogged down with expositions about here's the history of Firestorm.
Right. They did it well.
Yeah, they get through everything you need to know real quick and in a way that's fun. And yeah, there's definitely something going on. There's maybe some missing components to the Firestorm Matrix that are going to be causing a lot of trouble for people. And how we go about fixing that might be easier said than done.
So are we, where do I know Rafael de la Torre from?
Because that's the thing too, because their stuff seems familiar, but I'm
or is it just so good that it just feels like we should have known? Because the art in this is really good. And there are two distinct styles. The reason that I was flipping it open was because I was I'm pretty sure that I checked before, but were these two different artists on here, or was it just one artist doing two different styles? Because we get this kind of classic throwback 80s-ish house style at the end of it for this interlude, I guess you could say. And it's decidedly different looking, but it's the same penciler.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, this artist has worked on Void Rivals before, different colorists, but I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's good. I am very much looking forward to it.
It's very clean. It does that good job of straddling the more kind of superheroic vibe of the book, while also having that kind of more kind of horror-esque, which it makes sense from Jeff Lemire book. He likes, you kind of get a similar thing in some of his Absolute Flash, where it's dealing with the consequences of being a military lab experiment. Yeah, and how many artists do you know that their work really, or pencilers, I guess I should say, that their art lends itself well to both kind of the modern coloring techniques and classic coloring techniques, because that's what we get between those two art styles. But yeah, this was really fun.
I had no idea what to expect. I'll be honest. I picked it up because it was a number one, and DC's just got a lot of credibility right now. So I thought, I'll give it a try. And certainly Jeff Lemire. I've read lots of Jeff Lemire over the years, and have enjoyed the vast majority of it. So what the heck? And I think you should give it a try too, because it was surprisingly good.
Yeah. And on that note, speaking of this and other next level books, we did just get a restock of Lobo #1 in today.
We did.
That sold out very quick.
Yes.
I think we've still got a couple variant covers left of Batwoman, but all the cover is sold out for that one real quick. Deathstroke is out. Hopefully we can get more of that.
Yeah.
So if any of these next level books you're interested in, definitely let us know and get you signed up for them, because they are going very fast.
And we've got Zatan just around the corner.
Yeah, it's either next week or the week after, I think.
I think it's the week after.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. But that's going to be good. All right. So here's our top three. What was close to making it up here for you? It was kind of a medium, big-ish kind of week.
Yeah, but no, a bunch of good stuff. I was talking with you before. Thor was really good this week.
Yeah.
The notion of how does just a normal man deal with a radioactive man?
Right.
How does that go? And turns out the answer might surprise you, but that was really good. Perfect timing this week. The new issue of Maul Shadowlord, the comic came out just in time for the show premiere, both of which were very fun.
Yep.
Easily, just a side note to the show, easily the best looking animated of their kind of Clone Wars style stuff that they've been doing the last almost 20 years now. That's weird to think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just absolutely gorgeous. Check out both the show and the comic. I'm trying to remember if we have copies of issue 1 for the comic, though. The cool thing is...
I would guess so, yeah.
The cool thing is that with the comic, it's set before the show, and it's a lot more dealing with Lawson's character, the kind of the cop in the show, and getting a feel for how he and Janix as a planet kind of just are.
Sure.
So that's fun. What about you, Patrick?
Well, we picked up some reprints of White Sky #1, and I gave that a read because we now have copies for me to be able to read. I thought that was an interesting concept. There are floaty people in robes with fire. Excuse me. What's that all about in this post-apocalyptic world? So many questions. Uncanny X-Men continues to be really good for me. I like this whole new young team that they're sticking with and going with, and having Nightcrawler and Gambit and Rogue and Jubilee kind of foster and teach and whatever. And there's some altered reality or something shenanigans happening here where the kids end up in a place where things don't seem quite right.
Interesting.
But again, the art on that one's very good. Like you said, we got more Lobo in. Transformers, there's a big plot afoot now.
There's some interesting stuff going on there. Some deep cuts, some twists and turns. There's we were talking about this before. There's a couple of very specific choices made where it's just there's one in particular that it's kind of happened in some other versions of Transformers media, but I really hope this one actually leans into and explores the implications of it more, because it's something that we've kind of seen on the Autobot side of things before, but never really on the Decepticon side.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. Yeah, definitely. I also checked out Web of Venom. That was interesting. I came into that very blind because I just haven't been following much of the Spider-Man stuff lately, which is super weird for me. But it was fun. So there's a bunch of good stuff. We continue to get more of the DC Compact.
This week, The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, I mean, it's bonkers to me how many of these massive books that DC has to continue to crank out in this DC Compact stuff, to be, over 2 years in on them coming out, and we're just getting to Dark Knight Returns. And you were saying that the adaptation to the smaller size was really well done.
Well, because that's the thing when you're changing the formats on these things versus how they're originally published, you have to consider how that's going to work. And sometimes does and sometimes doesn't. Works a lot better in here than I thought it would. It actually looks super nice considering how many like small panels there are throughout.
Yeah. It's just such a good time to be interested in comic books, and really what it is just good storytelling. We've got so many people who are getting interested for the first time, and just they're able to go grab so many different fun stories from the last 40, 50 years because they're readily available now in affordable, easy to consume type of formats with the DC Compact and the other books that other publishers are doing. And I really think, Image was kind of at the forefront of making sure that was something that people could do as like, look, you can jump on at any point in time because we're going to have the first volume of any of our graphic novels at a more affordable rate so that you can, have that freedom to be able to try a little bit of this and a little bit of that and find what it is that you really like. So, yeah, it's just a really fun time. All right, well, we've got Free Comic Book Day coming up around the corner. And actually, technically, it's Free Comic Book Day and Comic Book Giveaway Day.
Yeah.
Because, and the whole Diamond bankruptcy thing and the ownership of the name and whatever. And
it's wonky, but we'll make it work.
Yeah, the distributor that owns it didn't play nice, I guess, with the publishers that aren't going through them and whatever. But hey, there are going to be free comic books from all the publishers available. They've started to arrive. So that's the first Saturday in May. I think that drops on the 2nd this year. Is that something?
I'm pretty sure it's the 2nd this year.
So we will have local creators here. We'll have some deals going on. We had ordered just a ton of free comic books, but with as popular as it was last year, and that also coincides with the 1-year anniversary at our new location, which has been very exciting. And we're going to be launching a facelift on the exterior of the building here pretty soon. So hopefully more good things to come in this location. But it's been great. And thank you to everybody who supported us. It's just been a phenomenal last 12 months. And we're very excited about the next 12 months and beyond. So all right, well, thank you for joining us. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, comment, share, stop on into your local comic book shop and pick up some reading material for yourself. We will be back next week with more Pulp Picks. Until then, enjoy the reading.